In what small, meaningless ways do you rebel? Each month when I pay the Cox cable bill, I write dongs instead of Cox on the check. It has never been returned and I've been doing it for 10 years. I do print design, and sometimes when my boss asks me to move something just a little bit to the left and I feel like they're making changes just for the sake of making changes, I don't move it at all. They always accept these changes. I had a boss that just had to find something to correct or he else felt like he wasn't doing his job. So when I'd get a project down to pretty much done, I'd intentionally leave in a minor spelling error so that he'd feel better about himself and I wouldn't have to even look at his bull's changes. My work requires dress shoes to be worn at all times. I bought black slippers that I wear around the office and claim they are suede, and management and co-workers believe it. I follow the traffic rules, wait at red lights, use indicators for switching lanes, follow lanes, and refrain from honking. I live in India. You can't be real. My name is a name that is commonly misspelled. If they misspell my name while emailing me, I bump the font size of my name up 1 point every time they misspell my name. I wore jeans at my company for a year straight. Our policy is to wear dress clothing. They kept coming after me but I kept replying with I refuse to wear fancy clothing when I am working on computers in the warehouse. Our warehouses are very dirty and we often have to climb on modules. Nonetheless, we were bought out and the policy changed to wearing jeans. The VP came up to me and said, "You finally won." At a previous job only mustaches or goatees were allowed but not beards, except with a medial or religious exception. I kept a beard for months and months and kept getting crap from HR. So finally I went to the doctor and got a note. She laughed out loud when I asked for it. A month later the policy changed to allow beards. I like to think it was thanks to me. I was at an awards presentation and a person that I don't like won an award. I didn't applaud. I'm sure someone noticed my silent protest. When a program on my computer crashes or something, you get the program not porn exes crashed window and if you have the option to click OK or X out of it, I always X out. It is not okay. When I was in high school, whenever I asked the teacher can I go to the bathroom and they answered with I don't know, can you, I just left the room and went. I feel like that is justified. You are basically saying let me find out. I'm a large muscular brown man. When I see some butthole taking up way too much room on the subway, I sit down right next to them. Right next to them. Surprise mother. My company's dress code is very strict. It does not contain anything about the condition of clothes. Wrinkly, ironed. I haven't ironed in years, and I still keep getting promoted despite it being mentioned on every PR. HR implemented a dress code for a company I used to work at without talking to anyone about it first. One of the stranger rules was that everyone had to wear socks or stockings. The founder and then CEO would walk around and show off how he wasn't wearing socks. Pee the head of HR off no end. I left within weeks after the founder left. I'm a Londoner, born and bred. I smile at people in the street and occasionally engage total strangers in conversation. It's about as subversive as you can get in the capital without being arrested by police under the Terrorism Act 2000. Please tell me you don't make eye contact while on the tube. My work truck is infested with bed bugs. My boss refuses to treat it because he thinks that it's coming from the patients I transport. So, whenever I find a bed bug, I save it live in a jar and release it into his office. When his office is infested, he'll do something about it. I work at a restaurant. If customers are loud and or obnoxious, I draw ketchup dongs on their burgers, or whisper frick you to their pancakes as I flip them. Made with gentle hatred. I'm a defense attorney and when I write motions and appeals in federal court I don't capitalize the G in government when referring to it as a party. It's pretty badass. My local district court judge would string me up by the balls for that. I rebel against him by filing a sentencing memorandum with every case. He hates them, says that they do not sway him at all, that he knows the guidelines and what sentence should be imposed. I got really tired of over an hour-long commute to my office where I literally don't work with anyone there. So one day last November I stopped coming into the office. Nobody has said a word, and I was promoted in January. We had a chance to meet this young man, And boy, that's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him. When Google search predicts what I'm going to type, I finish typing it myself. Get over yourself. You don't freaking know me. I also correct spelling mistakes before I hit enter because I hate that sanctimonious "did you mean?" When I was a kid I said a cuss word once, and my parents made me go to my room. They came in and gave me a bar of soap and told me that I had 10 minutes to lick the soap, and if they came back and I still hadn't licked it then I would be in more trouble. Out of spite I ate the entire bar of soap, and safe to say ever since I've been allowed to say whatever the frick I want. When my wife is away, I leave the seat up. I take more napkins than I need from fast food places and keep them in my glove box. I wear the same pair of pants multiple days in a row. I never move things when I dust. I only floss on days that I don't go to the gym. I never pull building permits for anything that I work on inside of my house. Call the cops. I don't give a frick. I like to imagine these are all things you do only when your wife is away. I'm a lawyer and my firm has car parking for partners with allocated spaces. One partner, who is notoriously mean to colleagues and staff, cycles in. He obsessively parks his bike in the same place, as though it's his space. Bike spaces aren't allocated. I also cycle in. I park in his spot every time I get the chance. Some coven of old ladies is on a committee at my work that decides random things for the building and they decided to ban yoga pants. It's warehouse work and a lot of my female co-workers were understandably upset as trying to bend in any direction while wearing jeans can be difficult. So I 130 pounds male have been wearing my girlfriend's yoga pants and leggings to work every day for a week now. I never click the sponsored search result on Google. Always scroll down to the second link, taking me to the same place in double the time. Sponsored links cost the company money per click, usually paid in advance, so clicking on annoying links is actually rebelling. If I buy a DVD at Walmart and the buzzer goes off as I leave, I just keep walking. I know that I paid for it, I have the receipt, I didn't steal anything. I'm not going to stand around and wait for somebody to come over, take my receipt back to register and make me feel like I did something wrong. No one's ever followed me. If I'm not in a rush and the transit cops are checking tickets, I act as sketchy as I can so they pick me, and then fumble and act like I can't find my pass until everyone's off the train platform. Then I suddenly remember that my monthly pass was in my pocket the whole time. Broke people shouldn't get fines for riding public transit. Right on. Poor folks. Right on. Someone like you saved my butt and my 60 euros a couple of weeks ago. Keep doing it, stranger. We can't thank you, but you must know we would hug the crap out of you if only we could. I have a hookup with a certain lunch lady in the cafeteria at work. She tucks the more expensive cheeses in the middle of my grilled cheese so they don't spill out. I think it saves me 10 cents. Grand theft pimento. My lunch lady makes my sloppy joes extra sloppy. I smuggle my own snacks into the movies. It's more difficult to hide in the summer. There's nothing quite like the feel of Swedish fish in your butthole. Used to work at a movie theater. We know, and as long as you make a little bit of an effort we really don't give a crap. That being said though, there was this one time a family came in with a full fricking Popeyes family meal, just carrying it out in the open. I would have let them in just because it was so ballsy, but my supervisor showed up so they had to eat it and come back. I got a parking ticket at uni and paid it online. I kept the tickets in the little cardboard protector it came in, and now I park for free all year round for a quarter of the price of a permit. I even get to park in the awesome spaces that are usually reserved. I tried that once but they put a second ticket on top. Instead of unbuttoning my work shirts entirely before taking it off, I unbutton the top 3 buttons and take it off like a t-shirt. Whenever someone takes a bite of a donut and puts it back in the box to reserve it, I'll add a second bite to it on the other end. You have to commit to the donut if you want it. Remove to protect my identity. TLDR. Managers, don't frick over your strong performers in an effort to save money in the short term because their decreasing productivity and work quality is way more expensive in the long run. I refuse to install the Facebook Messenger app on my phone. It is inconvenient. But frick Facebook for forcing me to install another app and removing functionality from the main app. I have the Messenger app but not the Facebook app. Fight me M8. I may be too late in the thread, but here goes. When I was little, my dad always kept Tic Tacs in his car. Whenever I asked to have some, I was only allowed to have 2. Many years later, I have my own car and my own box of Tic Tacs. And whenever I feel like it, I take 3 because I'm an adult and I make my own decisions. Ever since I was a little girl, my mother has been begging me to get my ears pierced. I actually kind of like the idea of getting them pierced, but it just annoys me that she's asking me to undergo this somewhat painful procedure just to make her happy. So I've quietly decided that every time she brings it up, I will refuse to consider piercing my ears for at least the next 6 months. I'm now in my mid-20s and still haven't done it. I hope you have piercings in other areas just to mess with her. I don't use FB or Twitter. I also created my grandmother FB account and befriended my brother, so he has to be careful with what he posts now. You are the worst kind of person. This morning I drove up onto a red light, looked left, looked right, looked ahead, with no cars, no street cameras and nobody watching as far as the eye could see. It was then and there I decided that I would finally be the rebel I always wanted to be. Then the light turned green. The mindset is what counts. One time my stepmom yelled at me for not scrubbing my dishes before putting them in the dishwasher, which as a kid, made no logical sense to me. So in my teenager, mid-puberty, short-tempered mind, thinker this bee wants some clean dishes. I'll give her some clean dishes, at which point I cover all the plates in hand soap. Fast forward 20 minutes later and I am sprinting back and forth between knee-deep bubbles in my parents' kitchen and the back door bucketing suds outside. Worst act of rebelling ever. When I receive unwanted credit card offers, I like to take the pre-stamped envelope and fill it with garbage. Then I like to send it back to the credit card company so they get charged for the postage. I used to work at a pizza place and if the customers were being really rude as I was saucing their pizza, I would draw a pentagram on the dough with sauce. Then of course cover it up with cheese. Enjoy a slice of Satan B. My work voicemail is full. People email me telling me it's full, but I don't care. Voicemail needs to join the fax machine and heck. I tend to vote third party in presidential elections. Relevant. From the Hitchhiker's Guide. On its world, the people are people. The leaders are lizards. The people hate the lizards and the lizards rule the people. Odd, said Arthur. I thought you said it was a democracy. I did, said Ford. It is. So, said Arthur, hoping he wasn't sounding ridiculously obtuse. Why don't people get rid of the lizards? It honestly doesn't occur to them, said Ford. They've all got the vote, so they all pretty much assume that the government they voted in more or less approximates to the government they want. You mean they actually vote for the lizards? Oh yes, said Ford with a shrug. Of course. But, said Arthur, going for the big one again. Why? Because if they didn't vote for a lizard, said Ford, the wrong lizard might get in. Got any gin? Don't blame me. I voted for Codus. In all the bathrooms in my college the towel dispensers have this little graphic saying to use both hands and grab each exposed corner to get a towel. It also has an crossed out graphic saying not to grab the middle of the towel. The day I let a cartoon tell me how to get my towels is the day I lose my dignity. So naturally I've started grabbing the middle of the towel. It works a good 98% of the time, which from what I've gathered is more effective than the two-hand method. My company started blocking Pandora streaming to save money on bandwidth, but not YouTube, because they put marketing videos on there. So I stream a YouTube playlist on 1080 page 24/7 even when my screen is locked. Give me back my Pandora, you jerks. I stuff spam mail with all the junk mail I get for the day, then add roofing shingles for weight and rigidity. The return envelopes are paid for by the corporation. I might throw in some orange peels, maybe a gum wrapper. Nothing that could get me in trouble for biological assault, but hopefully it sends a clear frick you to Capital One. At Chipotle, I get a free cup for water, But then, instead of pushing the small knob on the fountain to get regular water, I push the small knob adjacent to it and get soda water. Delicious, exciting bubbly water without calories for free. It's not an actual soft drink, so there's no price associated with it, and it is in fact water, so I figure it's not stealing. If anyone called me on it, I'd just say I didn't realize it was the soda water button and not the regular water button. Then I'd spit soda water in their faces, throw a Tabasco bottle against the window and set fire to their car while doing donuts in the parking lot. My work requires us all to sign in or sign out on a clipboard when coming and going to the office. We have been told it is just for health and safety, but that doesn't explain why we have to put in a time rather than, say, just a tick. Most staff believe it's for monitoring time in the office. Most people will just round to the nearest 5 minutes. However, I'm always sure to put in the exact minute, so it looks like 8.5217.48 etc, just to make those stupid calculations take a wee bit longer. Complete rebel. I hated how the media is always trying to advertise to you, so when one pop up on YouTube or WE, I shut off the sound and flip my phone. Now I don't know what movie is coming or when the new S7 is here. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.